the sheer size and breadth of this whole thing is going to change the industry eventually. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's what is amazing about this whole situation, is that there is this group of people that are just trying to figure it out.
Yep.
But they're changing the game completely.
Okay, I want to comment on that because now I'm lit up. I think it was the
have
dramatic pauses. I'm going to take 67 seconds. Welcome back to another episode of the Vertafore Insurance Podcast. I'm here in the studio, not solo, but without the peanut butter to my chocolate, Heath Sharon. Although he is on the Zooms. Heath, say hey. What's up, dude?
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Man, it's good. I'm excited about this podcast getting into AgencyOne.
Okay. With an intro like that. All right, so before we get into it, and this is going to be a quick episode for all of those listening. Normally, we would probably we could spend 2 hours talking a bit about this, probably a whole day. But we've got to shorten it into 30 minutes because Jace Hopper, the VP of Product Management, who is actually sitting directly to my left, has about 25, 30 product owners in the room directly next to us. We're all meeting on AgencyOne, and he's got to get back at it. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our two amazing guests. Jace Hopper, how are you?
Good to see you, Sid. Thanks for having me. Heath, always great to see you.
Yeah, buddy.
And Kelsey Anderson, the Director of Product Marketing.
Yes, hi. Thanks for having me.
All right. Okay, so Heath, let's get into it. Where are we starting, man?
Yeah, we're starting with the idea and the fact that we've been talking about AgencyOne for a year now, and we've talked about it a couple of different accelerates now, and there's a lot of people that have heard about it, but they don't know a ton about it. That's why we're here today. But Jace, I'll start with you, and then Kelsey, if wants to jump in as well. Where are we at today on AgencyOne? We'll just start real broad and work our way down.
Sure.
Just the easy question.
The easy question. What are we doing?
Yeah,
right? We've been building for over 2 years around AgencyOne, really building that foundation that we need to be able to support bringing together our products and building this platform that we are building. Like Sid mentioned at the beginning, I've got teams right now next door just working through new details and requirements and looking forward and thinking ahead. But we have versions that we're testing and deploying. We've been involved with a EA program already with a number of our customers around Sajida, Benefit Point, and ImageRight, getting us feedback, seeing the system, playing with it. And we're so excited because just the momentum that we have now around this, and just more importantly, what we're able to bring to life, it's real and it's here. And so that's what's so cool.
Okay, wait. I want to pause for a sec because I want to go back to the 25. I know.
You tell me I have a time limit, and then you're like, oh, let me just sidetrack us a little bit. Go ahead. Get it.
Quick sidetrack. I'm going to get us back on the rails. 25 to 30 product owners in the room next to us. That's important because they all run different products, right?
Yeah,
so this is
for sure.
Okay.
So, Vertafore has taken an approach for so long. We've had, very robust and valuable products in the market, Benefit Point, ImageRight, AMS 360, personalized rating, incredibly powerful tools. And they all work together, right? But what we're doing is we're really bringing them together in a way that's never been seen before, right? And transforming our products into a platform. And so the folks in the room, that are working through things right now are personalized rating, Sajida, AMS 360, Benefit Point, ImageRight. I'm probably missing some. Our design team's in there. Our back-end team's in there. It's great because we've now figured out how we're going to be able to bring this to life, and we're executing against it, and we're investing in what's necessary for the users.
See, that was a beautiful sidetrack. Okay, back to you.
It was a great sidetrack, but okay, we've got another person here on this podcast. So I want to get her talking a little bit. Kelsey, you come from a totally different perspective and viewpoint than the nerd and than Jace over there talking product. I would love to hear from the cool kid in the room of pull back the curtain and tell me behind it. He's like, what does it really look like from your standpoint, managing this many products from a marketing standpoint? Give me a little something deeper there. Give me a little behind the curtains view here. What does it look like?
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, I wouldn't say I'm the cool kid, but I appreciate the comment anyways. But I think coming in, looking at it from a product marketing lens, we get to sit in a really amazing spot because we get to sit down and work with product and all the product owners that are sitting in the other room next to Sid and Jace right now. We get to sit down with the design team and sit in on those sessions with users where we're talking through what's coming or some ideas that we have to see if it's really going to impact our users as we think it will. We get to help kind of create that story and that content from all of those conversations. And Jace actually teed it up really nicely that I think when you think about what we've done and what we're doing now, the behind the scenes is that we're challenging our teams across the board, and that includes marketing in a totally different way. And it's going to come to life and come to light with AgencyOne this year and the next few years, because we can support, an agency's operation from start to end, whatever they need, but we're asking different questions internally, and we're having those same conversations with our users so that we're bringing this platform to life in a totally different way, which is really cool. And so that's really where I would say the biggest behind the scenes people would want to know about.
Well, okay, if I'm
She's
allowed
the brains
to,
behind it all.
That's
Right.
the truth. That's the
if
truth.
I'm allowed to push a little bit further on
Sure.
that, like you mentioned the word challenge,
Yeah.
tell me, has there been, surely it's not been perfect. Has there been a few challenges from either one of you that you could shed a little bit of light on as we go through this? Because if it comes out all hunky-dory and wonderful, it's not as fun of a story. So there's got to be a little bit more the audience wants to hear. Has there been a challenge you've had to overcome? Either one of you could tell me about.
Kelsey,
Going off script a little bit.
Kelsey, go for it.
No, I think you're absolutely right. As we all talked about, we have a lot of products that support our agencies in different ways. And the challenge is taking a look at those products and how are we actually connecting them to better improve our user experience. We've had these different channels with different products, and we're bringing that all together internally. I think everyone, regardless of if it's our products or if it's the tech stack that an agency has, or if it's something completely unrelated to our industry, whenever you're trying to bring stuff together, there's going to be conflict, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be things that you have to work out. But the cool part about our team, everyone's up for the challenge. I mean, I'm sure, Jace, you're sitting in that room with them, like they're all excited this isn't like we don't want to do this, we're trying to do this, like we're on this path. Like everyone's on the same path and we're figuring out how we get there together.
There may or may not be a few agency onesies being worn right now in that room.
Yes.
But just to go a little bit further on this, the challenge is anytime you have siloed products, right? Anytime you have technology that's been around for a long time, there's a lot of things that you have to do to ensure that you can platform and bring together these products in a way that allows for innovation, intuitive thinking, and sort of really transformation, right? And so we've been doing a lot of that, and that's been some of the challenges is to say, hey, like what's possible with the tech and the backbone that's existed for so long? What's that balance between, changing the back end system versus, really bringing the systems together on the front end? So there's been that balance, and that's part of the challenge. And most importantly, at the end of the day, making sure that what we're building is truly going to make a difference in the market and disrupt, right? And that's, and with any product development, and no matter what you do, you're always going to have, you kind of start down this path, and that path leads you somewhere else, and then it goes somewhere else. But what's been fun is that evolution, right? And it's been really, really cool to see. And it's challenge is fun, right? And that's what makes this an exciting opportunity.
Yeah, I appreciate go a little deeper there. And you mentioned disruption, and I think I heard a phrase on one of the calls of disruption without disrupting, or something to that effect.
Without disruption.
That is actually Jace's phrase.
Yeah,
I think
he coined that.
I want a T-shirt with that on it because I think that's a really cool saying. But you said a lot of stuff that is maybe for the common person listening may not quite understand. And so again, why Kelsey's in the room as well to tell that story. How do you tell that story to, our audience, to our clientele out there, to say all of that stuff that Jace said in a way that, helps our customers understand what we're doing? What does that story look like?
So I think with our story with AgencyOne, you heard Jace mention it at the beginning. It's been a couple years of building, right? And it doesn't happen overnight. This isn't something that's just going to magically like happen overnight. It's something that we've been working towards and will continue to work towards for the next few years. For our users, like that's where we focus. When they talked about disrupting without disruption, we're already bringing some of this to life, and it's already like in some of our products today without having hit some of the real platform pieces that make it a platform. So you're seeing that transformation already in the products that our users are using every day. Mm-hmm. And that was strategic because we want them to feel it from the investment they've already made with us as their partner. We want them to see that change, see it happening in the products that they're in every day as we're on this journey, and then progressively get louder as more comes to life, as we're doing other pieces of AgencyOne are evolving. But we wanted to start with our users. We wanted them to feel the change in the products before we even, made that big announcement at Accelerate this last year, where James talked about that first milestone that's really coming to life towards the end of this year. So we really focused on our user experience, starting to kind of drop some of that naturally into their products every day. And then we'll just have more to come as we progress over the next few years.
In terms of telling the story, what do you call, how are we thinking about, the front end and the back end of AgencyOne?
Yeah, I can start this, and Jace, if you want to jump in. So I always like to explain it in the simplest terms. We have that we're on this journey to AgencyOne. We're on this journey to a platform. And when you think about it, as you just said, Sid, the front end and the back end. So the front end, you can think about it, it's all about the user experience. So sitting down and thinking about, is there duplicate entry across our products? Are we connecting our products through an integration and making that seamless so it's the best experience for our users? How are we continuing to deliver the best experience at the user level for every product? And then on the flip side, which I'll probably have Jace jump in and talk a little bit more because he's our product guy, but on the flip side, it's one core. So it's that core foundational aspect of a platform. How are we foundationally set up to help our users, our agencies succeed in whatever their goals are now and in the future? And so, Jace, if you want to elaborate any more on that.
I mean, I couldn't have said it any better myself.
I know, smooth. Smooth as butter.
Kelsey and I have been we're aligned. That's for sure.
There you go.
Capital A.
You say platform, and I've been on internal calls pulling back curtain on my end where it's been said multiple times, this is not a product, this is a platform. And I think it's hard for users out there maybe to wrap their head around that a little bit. What does that mean to be a platform exactly? Could you one of y'all walk me through what that means and let the audience know? I'm channeling the audience as best I can.
Yeah. It's there's a bunch of things that make a platform. I'm not going to go into all the nitty-gritty details in terms of really what the definition of a platform is. But in a nutshell, right, it's thinking about consistency and navigation, right? Making it easier to get to where you need to get to, and it's a seamless flow, and it's intuitive, and it's the same. So if you've ever been to another website, like let's use an Amazon as an example, right? Amazon is a Goliath, right, in terms of products. What people don't realize is that, when you go to Amazon.com, that navigation, it's the same. Although when you go to Amazon Music, when you go to whatever, they're different products, but they've created a platform, right?
You always feel like you're in Amazon.
You're in Amazon.
Right.
And so what we're doing is we're taking these best of breed products, right? And we're helping bring them together in such a way that we're pulling out what they're good at in terms of functionality, and we're modularizing, right? And so between the navigation and creating the functional modules functional modules, like you're in essence creating this platform, but you're not taking away from any of the value that those products create. You're only adding to it. And so that's what's cool. And I use the Amazon example because it's something that everyone can relate to, I mean, the amount of boxes we probably all get is a lot, but it's something that people don't realize is when you go to Amazon, you're actually navigating many products within that platform.
I also just love the fact that we're comparing ourselves to Amazon. That's, I'm going to say it, that's badass.
The Amazon
that's
of
badass.
insurance. Come on.
This whole podcast is badass. I mean,
hey, there he is. And Orange Mike Chad, ladies and gentlemen.
Chad,
you have
or
the
creepy
two.
Chad.
You have the two biggest Vertafore badasses in the house
This is
right
true.
now. So
My
That's
gosh,
right.
my
You don't have
head's
to
getting
talk
bigger.
about. You don't talk about me and Sid like that, Chad.
I was just about to say, Sid and Heath, you got it. So
Okay. All right.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, so
You raised
we only
your
have
hand.
a few more minutes. I've got
the Zoom was following you there.
I know, my bad. So I'm glad I wasn't making any other hand gestures, but I do want to ask a few other things. We only have a little bit of time here. Okay, so even as I've been on the road and talked to people about it, there was a product I've never even heard of that was brought up and called VAP. And then there was, conversations around something called Titan. And so people say, hey, y'all have tried this in the past and it didn't quite come to fruition. Jace, I got to push this on you a little bit. Please, I'm going Walter Cronkite, hard-hitting question here. What is that? How is this different than what we've tried in the past? And how is this going to get across the finish line and that may not have?
Yeah. So VAP, right? Vertafore Agency Platform was brought to AMS 360. I honestly don't even know how many years ago at this point. And as a part of VAP, they launched My Agency Home. Okay. The big difference and the main difference between the two is that VAP and My Agency Home, VAP was a sort of a packaging exercise. There's a bunch of products. You can get that package and you get AMS 360, you get PLR, you get whatever. So VAP wasn't really a platform, right? It was a packaging. My Agency Home, which was, a great value. I mean, there's tons of great value in what My Agency Home is and is for a lot of clients today. The challenge with that is it doesn't look and feel the same as AMS 360. It's not, you have to bounce between the systems to get what you need. And so we learned a lot from that, right? And I think we took a lot of that principle and said, there's a lot of good value here, but we need to really create a platform. And there's so much that we can do with that in terms of packaging and whatnot, but that's the difference. Is we are really bringing this platform to the products in such a way that we're not just saying you still get AMS 360, you still get PLR, right? You're going to have those products, but it's a part of the platform. And then through navigation and design and intuitive design that we're doing, we're able to actually make it be the same, right? Make it look and feel, and it's easier to train on. And I could go on, but I would say those are some of the fundamental differences between the two.
Yeah. What about
I think-
So I could go from
We're all jumping in.
I was going to say
Kelsey,
hot
Ready.
question.
Kelsey, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, to add to what Jace is talking about, I think My Agency Home was a great example. And I think he mentioned at the beginning that this year, or end of last year going into this year, we kicked off an early adopter program for AgencyOne. And a lot of that feedback was figuring out what parts of what you have today from My Agency Home, are important to you for this next evolution. So we learn with our customers as we're talking to them, like what pieces are valuable, what aren't, how can we improve that too? And I'm really excited about, our first milestone kind of coming to life, because it's bringing what we have already done and just enhancing it and evolving it to make it even better for our users.
So, did you say you had a question? Because I got like 5 more. I got
here we go.
No,
Yeah.
you go. Go. I already took my rabbit trail early on.
So I'm going to bring you into this for a second, Sid, because Sid and I are both multi-generation insurance professionals. We've been in agencies, and as a former, agency guy myself, to think about the challenges in an everyday life of an agency, whether it's, from a customer experience standpoint, a sales standpoint, CSR, there's a lot of challenge in agency. What is AgencyOne? What gap is it filling? What can you tell me? What common problems is it going to solve?
Are you putting
for
me
an
in the hot
agency?
seat?
Yeah.
I'm just asking in general, the three of you, I'm asking it 3 because
all right.
More Sid's on this team as well.
He did. He totally did. All right. So Kelsey,
Sid's on the team as well. That's why
I said fill in where my gaps are here. I think about the day of a service person. And I think mostly because we have this new initiative internally called Project Impact, with which Vijay Munswamy is running. And it's geared and focused on making the day of a servicer better, because they do relatively the same, 15, 16, 17 things every day, a little bit differently per person, right? Because everyone has their own way of doing things. But there's so much manual entry, duplication, extra clicks, bouncing in between products that aren't Vertafore products that, you have to log into, or you've got to move the data back and forth. I mean, it's just kind of a wild, wild west of a tech stack. And that's when you're just trying to, sit down at 8 a.m. and get your 15 to 16 things done every day, it's frustrating, right? So what we're trying to do is figure out what are the optimal steps. What is the best process from a digital perspective for renewal, for claims, for, whatever it might be across all of these different products, because you use multiple products, right, for every workflow. And then, how can we bring those things together in that optimal way? So I think that's probably the most exciting part to me. But there's so much more. I mean, in talking with Jace, there were little things about bringing these products together that from a user's perspective, I hadn't even really thought about. I'll give you an example. We sat in a room and he said, well, Sid, you do realize that the names of the fields are different in every system. And so from a product person's perspective, that's frustrating because I've got all these different names for data, and I got to go in and essentially homogenize or standardize all of them. And then I started thinking about that from the user's perspective. Well, yeah, from the user's perspective, you have to remember that it's called tasks over here, activities over there, suspenses over here. And so what's a product problem is also a user problem, is also a business problem, because analytics are hard to put together. And so it's just beautiful the way he's thinking about it, and the detail with which he's thinking about it. So there's, from just overarching user workflow and bringing non-Vertafore products together, and one login. I mean, there's the stylization, but also these little things that you just don't think about. We don't think about every day that he's fixing. Kelsey, did I miss anything there?
No, I think you covered it really well. I think at the end of the day, how can we simplify, right? How can we make it easy? How can we simplify it for the users? That's always the word I think about. The one example I would probably add to what you said, Sid, would be around what we're doing with data and the unification of data. I think that's another powerful part of AgencyOne that's going to just continue to come to life and be amazing for our users. I'd love, Jace, if I can put you on the spot and maybe just talk about what we're doing with data.
Sure. So a couple things before I get to that. So, this is a huge...
We're just switching all kinds of roles now. Kelsey's a host and Sid's a guest.
I mean,
this is awesome.
I'm going to ask you questions now.
Welcome to the
program. Tell me more. How's
right?
Life? No. So first things I want to say is the amount of people that are involved in thinking through and getting and understanding where all these challenges are is incredible in this organization right now. These ideas around what we're doing and where we're going is by no means just coming from me. There's a million people working through these challenges, and the design team working through this with users, the Project Impact. We're getting so much feedback, and the amount of times that we find in the process that someone's using this and they don't even realize they're doing it. And so it's our job to look at that and say, hey, that sticky note over there that you constantly are referencing, that's your process. That matters, right? And so we're constantly looking for those things to really evaluate, but a huge team effort here, right, in terms of what we're doing. Kelsey, now back to your question around data. So we're doing a lot, right? So as we think about data, right, everyone pulls reporting and data from all of our systems, and it's different, right? There's different mechanisms in which to get at the data. Some is, direct access to the database. Some is, through APIs. Some is through just getting a raw dump of data. And it's hard for our customers.
Did you say dump on the podcast?
I did. Yes.
That's interesting. Okay, go ahead.
That is a real term, by the way.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that are getting things in different ways. And so what we're doing is we're trying to standardize that. And with our partnership with Amazon is really, spin up an entirely new data management offering that brings together all of our products and the data into one centralized data lake, provides you access to that data however you want, right? Whether it's full data dumps, if it's, extracts of the data based on, changes, if it's through APIs. But then where that leads, right, is, we start to bring together the data model. And then where does that lead? Centralized reporting, right? So, there's just this evolution that exists, right? I oftentimes refer to what we've done historically as really the flywheel. So we've been spending the last couple years figuring out what we need to do, starting to build on that foundation, really expanding on that, pulling on that flywheel, pulling on that rower. That flywheel effect has now kicked in. And what that means is that we can pull and continue to invest the same, but what you're going to get, it's a lot easier for us to move faster, right? It doesn't take as much to pull and go as fast as we want. We're there now. And that's what's really fun about this. There's so much more that we haven't even thought about that we're going to be able to bring to life here as well. So
powerful.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, one of the things, again, I still pinch myself some days being at Vertafore because I get to see some of the stuff behind the scenes and hear some cool stuff. And one thing I have not heard at all since I've been here and hearing about AgencyOne is anything about this being like a sales play or any way of making money off of this or doing it. This is truly a way to enhance our customers' experience. It's fun for me to say our now because I'm actually on the team now. But it's so cool to know that this is not some way for us to get a money grab or to do anything with. It's just, I don't know. It's not a question. It's just more of a comment. But if you want to add to that, I'm excited.
I actually want to add something to this because I don't.
Oh gosh,
I don't think
here we go.
Yeah, I don't think
the voice
Kelsey and Jace are really opening the curtain all the way because this is a monumental thing that is happening, and I think that's part of this is the fact that the sheer size and breadth of this whole thing is going to change the industry eventually. And I think that's what is amazing about this whole situation is that there is this group of people that are just trying to figure it out.
Yep.
But they're changing the game completely.
Okay, I want to comment on that because now I'm lit up. I think it was the dramatic pauses. I'm going to take 67 seconds.
I will let them know right now.
Let them know you're going to be a few minutes late because Sydney is lit up.
Okay, well, hold on. For those who are not watching the YouTube video.
We could have him come in.
We could invite the whole product team.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
Let's go.
For those who are not
Sid.
watching, though, he just texted his entire product team saying he's going to spend more time with us and he's going to make them wait. So there you go, audience. Okay, so what Chad just said, really quick. My dad's been in the industry for, I think since he was a kid because my grandfather started it. And there's always been this, expectation from a technology perspective that you just have to, first it was you just have to have an agency management system. Now it's like you have this complicated tech stack and everybody's trying to figure out, well, where does the agency management system fit in? What's the future of the AMS? How does CRM play into this? How much technology do I actually need? And what Jace and Kels are building here is truly the next generation of the agency management system. I really see a world where that conversation doesn't matter anymore, right?
Yeah,
and that's mind blowing to me.
Well, it's important, and I think just to kind of put it in a different way. I mean, this is a ton of fun for me. I cannot tell you how much fun this is to be able to see the change and help make the change, right? And not just to do it. To Heath, to your point, it's not about that. It's about making sure that we can do what's best for these hundreds of thousands of users that exist on our systems, whose lives literally depend on our products every single day. And by the way, the entire population of the United States is dependent on them serving and protecting them in their worst times. That is like, the fact that you can impact so much change through that is incredible. And so how do I help the agents become better at being there for their customers and let the system work for them versus them having to work the system? That's like the foundational thing that I think about all the time. And it's tons of fun. I don't come from this industry. I come from advertising and the all the stuff that sat there. But this, I left because honestly, like there was more passion here, and you can see that. I mean, the amount of people that have been in this industry forever is incredible. And how do I help? How do we help, right? And how do we make their lives better?
Oh, you're getting me fired up.
Gosh, I'm gonna.
This kind of stuff.
Full circle.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna close on that note.
There we go.
Well done. Thank you, Jace, for closing us out. He is now the host. Please come back to the Vertafore Insurance podcast.
I still got more questions. You're gonna close me out?
Okay, so here's what we'll have to do, Heath. For those listening, we're gonna have a part two of this.
There
we're gonna have to have a part 2.
Okay.
And we're gonna roll reverse.
And we'll roll.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
Sid, you better brush up on your AgencyOne knowledge.
Listen, I'll read the notes. I will read the questions Heath sends ahead of the podcast next time. So done and done.
So you're really cutting me off. No more questions. All righty, I get it.
I hate to do it. I
know.
do it.
I know.
It's
I gotta go
killing
build.
me.
I gotta go build this.
He's got to go build.
I gotta
it,
go make
we
it
can't
happen.
We can't
right?
keep talking about it at this point.
Part 2 will come to
Alrighty.
life with maybe we'll talk about something that we're building right now that I can't talk about right now. So,
Cliffhanger.
There you
Ooh.
There you go.
All right.
Alrighty.
Heath looks appropriately disappointed that we're ending the podcast.
I am, but that's what they say. Always leave them wanting more, and I guess Jason, Kelsey are doing that right now. But anyway, I'm thinking for the audience. They're the ones who are upset right now because they're like, man, we don't get to hear the rest of it. But we're teasing them for the next one. So part 2's coming.
You're right. And here's the thing. The next thing that you can do after listening to this podcast is go to Vertafore.com, go to the agency menu, and click on the agency ecosystem page.
Yes.
Or go to Vertafore.com, and I'm going to make up a URL right now, and Kelsey's probably going to stare like darkly into my eyes, so I'm not going to look at her. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be Vertafore.com/AgencyOne, and there's going to be a whole page of content. You can read, listen, watch, see, even get a little sneak preview of the platform and just learn more about what's coming. Although I will say that Kelsey and Jace did a beautiful job setting this up. So thank you guys.
To add to that, there are going to be several more podcasts over the next 3 or 4 months around this whole subject. We're going to get into the front end, the back end, what happens, how it happens, and part
Project
2.
Impact.
And
Project
part 2.
Impact. So get ready. We've already recorded some of them, and I'm blown away by it. So I can't wait for you guys to hear it. So stay on the lookout for that.
I feel like this is just a big tease. Gosh.
It is.
All right. I got to wrap it. Guys, thank you so much. Listen, if you are listening to the podcast right now and you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, Channel Orange, go to youtube.com right now, type in Vertafore, find our channel. You can watch all of the podcasts and see how disappointed Heath is and how awesome Case. I just shipped you guys. I can't.
Wow.
It was coming out the last time.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. All right. Product marketing and product. There you go. All right. So listen, guys, go to youtube.com, smash the subscribe button, and catch the next episode. I think Project Impact. All right. With that, we'll see you then.